Close your eyes for a moment. Forget your bank balance, forget your debts, forget the labels this world has pinned upon you. Instead, step boldly into a higher truth. You are already the millionaire you seek to become. The mistake most people make is this. They wait for their outer world to change before they allow their inner world to rise. But that's not how creation works. Your outer world is merely a reflection of the state you occupy within. To feel like a millionaire before you become one, you must dare to assume it. Now, start with the feeling. How would it feel to have all your needs met with ease? How would you walk into a room? What posture would you hold? What calm would live in your breath, in your mind, in your body? Now feel it, not with force, but with faith. Don't try to become rich. Be rich in mind. Talk to yourself the way a millionaire would. Speak of your plans, your vision, your legacy. Think with the abundance of someone who knows they are supported by the infinite. This is not fantasy. This is creation in motion. You see, it is the feeling that plants the seed, the persistence that waters it, and your inner world held firm that demands its harvest. Even if your senses scream, lack persist in the assumption. Ignore the noise. You are not here to reflect the world, but to command it. You are not a victim of circumstances. You are the operant power. So begin today. Walk into every room with the quiet knowing that you are already it. You are not waiting for wealth, you are radiating it. You are not hoping for abundance, you are aligned with it. You are not chasing the future, you are living it now. And when you truly feel like a millionaire, not someday, but now, then the world has no choice but to reflect back your conviction. If your conviction is strong, then the world and you will conspire. Let others doubt, let others worry. You, on the other hand, will rise, not because you begged for it, but because you dared to feel it. Listen, everything begins in the unseen. The world you live in is not created by effort alone, but by the ideas you hold and the pictures you entertain in the quiet of your mind. What you imagine, believe, and accept as true within yourself becomes the blueprint for your outer experience. This is not mere philosophy. It is the law by which all things come into being. To feel wealthy, to become wealthy, you must first see yourself as wealthy in consciousness. Not someday, not when your paycheck increases, not when your debts disappear, but now, in this moment, where your true power resides. What you consistently hold in your imagination begins to shape the structure of your reality. Most people believe they must wait for change before they feel different, but the truth is inverted. When you feel different, the world must change to match your inner state. The imagination is not a playground. It is the workshop of creation. It is the womb of reality. When you close your eyes and see yourself living in your ideal home, wearing the finest clothes, moving through the world with ease and elegance, that is not fantasy. That is the seed of manifestation. And just like a seed planted in soil, what you nurture in your inner world must eventually appear above the surface. The delay you experience is not denial, it is gestation. Life is not punishing you. It is simply responding to the strength of your assumptions. To accept something as true internally is to give it life. You must not merely wish for wealth, you must accept it as done. Imagine walking into a room and knowing you are wealthy, not because someone said so, not because of a number on a screen, but because you said so. That kind of inner authority bends the world to its image. Your assumption, once felt deeply and persistently, commands reality. The wealthy version of you already exists, not in the future, but in the present moment of imagination. When you align with that version of yourself, when you consistently think, feel, and act as though it is already true, you begin to move in harmony with the outcome. You're no longer a seeker, you become the embodiment of the thing desired. The world then begins to reorganize itself to fit the mold you've held in your mind. But here is the secret. You must do this in spite of your current circumstances. You must ignore what your senses say and believe in what your inner eye sees. The world will try to convince you otherwise. It will flash numbers and situations and stories to keep you locked in the present state. But your job is to remain loyal to your vision. The outer world is not the truth. It is the echo. Your imagination is the source. So do not wait for money to feel rich. Do not wait for recognition to feel valuable. Do not wait for permission to live fully. Assume it now, see it now, feel it now. Because when you imagine something and accept it without doubt, you have already claimed it. And once it is real in you, it will become real for you. Words alone are powerless without the force that animates them, feeling. To declare that you are rich, abundant, or successful means very little if it remains only an intellectual statement. It is the feeling behind the words that shapes reality. Feeling is the secret language of creation, the invisible current that turns thought into form. When you feel something deeply and consistently, you impress it upon the deeper layers of your being, and the world must respond in kind. The great misunderstanding is believing that repeated affirmations without emotion can shift your world. You may say, "I am wealthy," 1,000 times. But if within you there is anxiety, doubt, or a sense of lack, then what you are truly broadcasting to the universe is the opposite of your words. The conscious mind may speak the phrase, but the subconscious mind, which accepts only what you feel to be true, remains unconvinced, and it is the subconscious that creates. Feeling is the bridge between the inner world and the outer. It is the proof of belief, the evidence of assumption. When you feel rich, even before any outward sign of wealth, you have already begun to live from that reality. You are no longer a beggar at the door of your desires. You have entered the house and taken your seat. That inner certainty, that quiet, confident joy, that is the signal creation responds to. To feel wealthy does not require money in the bank. It requires the decision to dwell in the emotional state of abundance. Ask yourself, how would it feel to be free? To know you can give without fear, receive without guilt, and live without limitation? Let that feeling rise within you, not as a distant hope, but as a present truth. Let it saturate your thoughts, your words, your posture. Let it become the atmosphere you breathe. And do not wait for evidence. The world may show you contradiction, but your task is to hold the feeling regardless. That is faith. Not belief in a far-off future, but the conviction that it is already done. When you persist in the feeling of the wish fulfilled, the world will conform because it has no choice. It is only a mirror. Understand this deeply. You do not manifest what you want, you manifest what you are. And what you are is determined by what you feel to be true. You can pretend with your words, but you cannot lie with your vibration. If you feel small, unworthy, or anxious, then the world will echo that state. But if you feel expansive, powerful, and complete, then all things must bend to match it. So when you say, "I am rich," do not say it with hollow hope. Say it from a place of joy, of certainty, of relaxed knowing. Say it because you have already touched the feeling and made it your home. Creation listens not to your tongue, but to your tone. And when the tone is one of true alignment, life moves. The feeling is the key. Guard it, practice it, return to it again and again. Because once you master the art of feeling, you have mastered the art of creation. Creation begins with assumption, not with evidence. The world will tell you to work harder, wait longer, or earn your way into abundance. But true transformation begins when you dare to live in the end. To live in the end means to mentally and emotionally dwell in the state of the wish fulfilled. Not tomorrow, not one day, but now. It is to act, feel, and think from the version of yourself who has already achieved the thing you desire. You do not wait to be wealthy to feel like a millionaire. You must feel like a millionaire first. And then the world reshapes itself to reflect that feeling. It is not arrogance, it is spiritual certainty. You walk as if it is already yours, not because you are pretending, but because your imagination has accepted it as done. The inner reality becomes more real than what your eyes can see. Begin with this question. If I already had it, how would I live? How would you speak about your life? How would you carry yourself? What decisions would you make if the outcome were guaranteed? You see, most people live from the state of lack, constantly reacting to what is missing. They speak of their goals as something separate, far away, always becoming but never arrived. That state of almost keeps them trapped. But when you live in the end, you skip the waiting. You align with the version of yourself who already has what they once hoped for. You bring the end into the present moment. And when you do, the process begins to unfold around you. Life moves to support the state you persist in, not the one you wish for, but the one you occupy. So walk differently, talk differently, dress not to impress others, but to reflect your new inner identity. If the you who already succeeded wouldn't be begging, doubting, or chasing, then stop doing those things. Adopt the posture of fulfillment. Live as though you're already there. This is not deception. This is deliberate creation. You are not lying to yourself. You are calling forth the unseen and giving it shape through conviction. You are choosing to no longer live as a reflection of past experiences, but as a reflection of a chosen future that you now claim as present. This is the greatest power you possess, the ability to enter the state of your desired reality before any physical proof appears. And yes, the world may resist at first. It may echo old patterns or reflect temporary contradiction. But stay unmoved. Keep your vision fixed. Keep living in the end. Because once you fully accept something within, the outer world must rearrange to match it. It is law. So stop measuring your progress with your senses. Your senses are always late to the party. Trust what you feel in the unseen, assume it boldly, live it unapologetically. And when you do, when you embody the end result as your now reality, what you once longed for will become your everyday experience. The journey is not to the end. The journey is from the end. Choose the state and let the world follow. The greatest power you have is the ability to persist in an inner state, regardless of what the outer world shows you. Most people give up too soon. They imagine for a few minutes, they feel the desire once or twice, but then they look around and see no change. And so they return to doubt, to fear, to the belief that perhaps this isn't working. But the truth is this: reality must conform to what you persist in assuming, not what you briefly hope for. To persist in the assumption means to remain faithful to the inner vision, even when the senses tell a different story. It is to walk through lack while feeling abundance. It is to hold peace in your heart while chaos swirls around you. This isn't delusion, it is discipline. It is mastery of the unseen. Your current circumstances are not permanent. They are reflections of past assumptions, thoughts and feelings you accepted as true long ago. They are echoes, not truths. And if you want to create something new, you must stop reacting to the echo. You must become loyal to what you choose to be true, not to what the world temporarily reflects back to you. Persistence is the mark of all creation. Nothing comes into this world without pressure being applied. Just as a seed must push against the soil to rise, your assumption must push through doubt, appearances, and delay. That's not a sign of failure. It's a sign that the new is forming. And if you stop, if you shift your state back to lack, you interrupt the process. But if you persist, unwaveringly, you give your assumption time to take root and unfold. Think of your desired state as a place you dwell. Once you move in, don't keep peeking outside to check if the scenery is changed. Stay inside. Live there. Make it your home. Speak from that place. Think from that place. Feel from that place. Your persistence is the signal that tells the universe you mean it, that you are no longer entertaining if or when you are already there. And yes, the world may test you. You might experience moments that feel like the opposite of what you desire. But don't be fooled. These are merely the final flickers of the old story burning out. Your only job is to remain consistent in your new identity. Do not explain yourself to the world. Do not argue with appearances. Just return to the state. Again and again, every time you choose to assume your desired reality and hold it, you are sculpting your world. You may not see it instantly, but the shift is happening. Persist and the unseen becomes seen. Persist and the inner becomes outer. Persist and the world cannot help but yield. You are not here to beg reality for change. You are here to declare it from within. So no matter what comes, stand firm, feel it real, live in the vision, stay loyal to your chosen state. Because when you persist in the assumption becomes fact. It is not a matter of if, it is only a matter of when. One of the most liberating truths you can embrace is this: you are not responsible for the how. The moment you decide to manifest something, whether it's wealth, love, health, or success, your only true responsibility is to assume the state of already having it. The how is not your concern. It belongs to the unseen intelligence that governs creation. When you try to control the method, you block the flow. But when you surrender the how and embody the feeling of the end, the way begins to unfold naturally, often in ways you could have never imagined. Trying to figure out how you'll become a millionaire places you back into the mindset of lack. Why? Because behind every how is the assumption that you don't yet have it. And if that is your starting point, you'll continue to create more evidence of not having. Your job is to step into the energy, the confidence, the calm of already being wealthy, and to trust that the bridge of incidents leading you there will appear step by step. And this doesn't mean you sit passively or ignore inspired action. It means you stop trying to force the outcome through logic and stress. It means you begin to live as if what you desire is already yours, and from that state, your actions carry power, your thoughts carry clarity, and your path begins to reveal itself without effort. Any refusal of faith or fear, refusal of progress, creates incompleteness. It means you stop trying to force the outcome through logic and stress. It means you begin to reveal itself without effort. The truth is, the how was never yours to worry about. It is handled by the unseen laws of life, the silent currents that orchestrate people, places, and events to match the assumptions you hold. But these laws only move when your assumption is clear and your state is stable. If you keep jumping in and out of belief, if you keep doubting and adjusting based on what you see, you confuse the process. The state of already having it is the magnet. When you live in the end, when you feel rich before the money arrives, life responds by making that feeling real. You might get a call, an idea, an opportunity. The door might open through a stranger or sudden shift. But it will never be what you expected. That's the beauty of detachment. It leaves room for miracles. You cannot control the universe, but you can control your inner state. And that is all you need. Stop analyzing. Stop overthinking. Stop asking, how will it come? and start asking, how would I feel if it were already here? Then live from that feeling. Trust that what is yours by assumption must find its way to you. Let go of the timeline, let go of the path, let go of the mental strain. You were never meant to carry it all. You are meant to feel it, know it, assume it, and then let life do what it does best. Bring form to your faith. When you detach from the how, you open the door to faster, smoother, and often more extraordinary results. Because now you're not trying to force reality, you're allowing it to unfold in perfect harmony with your assumption. The outer world is not the cause of your inner state, it is the effect. Everything you see around you, your finances, your relationship, your opportunities, is nothing more than a reflection of your inner world. The thoughts you think, the emotions you dwell in, and the assumptions you hold all form a blueprint that life faithfully mirrors. When you finally understand this, you stop trying to fix the outside and start transforming the inside. Because the truth is simple. You don't become a millionaire and then feel abundant. You feel abundant first, and that feeling calls wealth to you. This may sound backward to the logical mind, but it is the only way creation truly works. You are always broadcasting something, a mood, a tone, a belief, and the world picks up on that signal and reflects it back through people, events, and experiences. If your inner conversations are filled with fear, doubt, and lack, then no matter how much you struggle or strive, the results will echo those vibrations. But if your inner dialogue is rich, empowered, and full of expectancy, your life will begin to align with abundance, not because of luck, but because of law. Think of your mind as a projector. The images you hold within, consciously or unconsciously, are cast outward into the world. The people you attract, the situations you face, and even the challenges you meet are all aligned with the frequency of your dominant state of being. Change the film inside, and the picture on the screen must change too. So begin with your self-talk. What do you say to yourself when no one is listening? Do you affirm your worth and potential, or do you rehearse your limitations and fears? These inner conversations are more powerful than any action you take. They set the tone for your decisions, your behavior, and the way the world responds to you. If you want to become a millionaire, don't wait for the money to arrive to feel worthy. Feel worthy now. Begin to carry yourself like someone who is financially secure. Walk with the calm confidence of someone who knows their needs are already met. Speak with the clarity of a person who is already living the life they desire. These are not tricks or fantasies. They are acts of alignment. Your feelings are commands. Your assumptions are instructions. When you decide to feel abundant, truly feel it in your body, your thoughts, and your emotions, you activate a new version of yourself. And this version becomes the magnet that draws wealth, ideas, connections, and opportunities to match it. Life doesn't respond to desperation. It responds to conviction. You must stop begging reality to change and start instructing it through your inner state. You must become the cause, not the effect. Let your inner world be so strong, so vivid, so saturated with the feeling of abundance, that the outer world has no choice but to match it. This is how transformation happens, not from the outside in, but from the inside out. Master your inner world, and the outer world will follow. Speak abundance, feel abundance, live abundance, and abundance will become your truth. Behold within you the power to transform your life, not through force or struggle, but through the gentle, persistent assumption of your desired state. You do not need to wait to become a millionaire to feel abundant. You must feel abundant first. Your imagination is the canvas, your feelings are the brush, and your assumptions are the command. When you live in the end, persist in that vision, and detach from the how, you align yourself with the higher reality. The outer world can only reflect the inner. So speak with faith, feel with conviction, and walk in the confidence of the one who already is. Because the moment you claim it inwardly, the world has no choice but to yield. To say to thanks. Thank you for listening, and more importantly, for daring to believe in the power within you. Keep imagining boldly, feeling richly, and living fully. Your new reality is already on its way. Close your eyes for a moment and dare to believe, dare to know that what you want is already yours. Not tomorrow, not next month, but now. In the unseen realm of spirit, it is complete. You are not creating something from nothing. You are stepping into what already exists, waiting to be claimed by your consciousness. You are not a beggar in this world. You are the operant power. And the only thing that separates you from your desire is the illusion of separation. The moment you imagined it with feeling, the seed was planted. And just like the seed beneath the soil, you do not dig it up every morning to check if it's growing. You water it with faith, you nourish it with imagination, and you act as if the harvest is inevitable. This is how the universe works. It does not operate on panic. It does not bow to your doubt. It moves only in response to your inner certainty. Your job is not to wonder how. Your task is not to micromanage the timing. The universe doesn't need your control. It needs your surrender, your trust, your unwavering belief that what you ask for has already been granted. So walk like it's done, speak like it's done, feel the relief of already having it, and every time doubt creeps in, don't beg. Return to the end. See yourself already living the result. Let that vision become more real than the facts before your eyes. Because here's the truth. The outer world always yields to the inner world. There is nothing to chase, nothing to force. The minute you align with the frequency of the wish fulfilled, you become magnetic to it. It finds you, not because you fought for it, but because you believed in its arrival. And when it delays, remember this, delay is not denial. It is divine timing at work. It is perfection being stitched behind the curtain of time. You do not rush a masterpiece. You trust it. So today, stop checking the clock, start feeling the truth. Live from the end, and the end will meet you. Act as if it's coming, because in truth it already has. Close your eyes for a moment and dare to believe, dare to know that what you want is already yours. Not tomorrow, not next month, but now. In the unseen realm of spirit, it is complete. You are not creating something from nothing. You are stepping into what already exists, waiting to be claimed by your consciousness. You see, you are not a beggar in this world. You are the operant power. And the only thing that separates you from your desire is the illusion of separation. The moment you imagined it with feeling, the seed was planted. And just like the seed beneath the soil, you do not dig it up every morning to check if it's growing. You water it with faith. You nourish it with imagination, and you act as if the harvest is inevitable. This is how the universe works. It does not operate on panic. It does not bow to your doubt. It moves only in response to your inner certainty. Your job is not to wonder how. Your task is not to micromanage the timing. The universe doesn't need your control. It needs your surrender, your trust, your unwavering belief that what you ask for has already been granted. So walk like it's done, speak like it's done, feel the relief of already having it. And every time doubt creeps in, don't beg. Return to the end. See yourself already living the result. Let that vision become more real than the facts before your eyes. Because here's the truth. The outer world always yields to the inner world. There is nothing to chase, nothing to force. The minute you align with the frequency of the wish fulfilled, you become magnetic to it. It finds you. not because you fought for it, but because you believed in its arrival. And when it delays, remember this: delay is not denial, it is divine timing at work. It is perfection being stitched behind the curtain of time, and you do not rush a masterpiece. You trust it. So today, stop checking the clock. Start feeling the truth. Live from the end, and the end will meet you. Act as if it's coming, because in truth, it already has. Imagination is not mere fantasy. It is the hidden workshop of creation, the sacred chamber where the invisible becomes visible. Every structure you see, every life you admire, every reality you call success first existed in imagination. It is not something to be taken lightly or used passively. It is power. The very substance of the unseen shaping itself into form through the one who dares to believe. You were not born to observe reality and accept it as fixed. You were born to reshape it, to walk by inner vision, not by the five senses alone. The moment you accept the truth that imagination precedes manifestation, your life begins to shift from reaction to creation. You are no longer at the mercy of circumstances, you become the cause of them. But this transformation requires conviction. You must imagine with feeling, not as a daydreamer, but as one who knows the unseen is more real than the seen. When you hold an image in your mind consistently and clothe it in emotion, when you inhabit that state as your truth, it begins to form the blueprint of your outer life. Thought alone is not enough. It must feel natural, alive, inevitable. Understand this: life is not waiting to give you what you want. Life is echoing back to you what you believe to be true. If you persist in the assumption that you are abundant, loved, powerful, then life has no choice but to mirror that back to you, not because of luck or effort, but because law demands it. What is impressed upon the imagination with conviction must express itself in the outer world. There is no gap between you and your desire except your own disbelief. The universe isn't withholding anything from you, it is responding to your inner state. So if you desire change, do not look outside of yourself. Go within. Change the movie playing in the theater of your mind, and when you do it with such clarity and feeling that it becomes more real to you than the present moment. This is not delusion, this is creation. It is knowing the truth before it becomes visible. It is walking in faith, not sight. It is recognizing that your inner world is the cause and your outer world is only the effect. The mistake so many make is waiting for evidence before they believe. But the evidence only appears after the belief. That is the great reversal you must embrace. Don't wait on the money to feel wealthy. Don't wait on the love to feel chosen. Don't wait on the opportunity to feel successful. Feel it now. Live from it now. Act from the end, and the end will rush forward to meet you. Every time you imagine something with conviction, you plant a seed. And just like a seed buried in soil, it does not sprout immediately. It moves quietly, secretly under the surface of awareness. But its growth is certain, as long as you don't dig it up with doubt. You must persist in the assumption that it is done, that it is yours, that it is finished. Life bends to the one who believes more in imagination than in appearances. Appearances are fleeting. Imagination is eternal. It holds the pattern, it holds the promise, it holds the power. So do not take it lightly. What you imagine today, you will live tomorrow. What you accept in consciousness now, you will walk in later. Use this gift boldly, use it wisely. Let imagination become your place of dwelling, your home, your refuge. Because the world you see will always reflect the world you've chosen to believe in. And once you know this, once you truly know it, not as theory but as experience, your life will never be the same. Desire is not something to be dismissed or doubted. It is not a weakness or a fleeting wish, it is sacred. It is purposeful. The moment a true desire rises within your heart, it is not born from chance or accident. It is evidence. Evidence that the life you long for already exists in the unseen. It is the signal, the announcement, the whisper from the universe that what you seek is already yours. You are not being teased with what you cannot have. You are being guided toward what is already promised. You must come to see desire not as something you need to chase, but something you need to recognize. It is not the beginning of lack, it is the beginning of fulfillment. If you desire love, it is because love is yours. If you desire freedom, it is because freedom is within you. If you desire more, it is because more is already seeking you. The universe does not play games. It doesn't plant desires only to torment you. It places them like divine seeds in the soil of your soul, waiting for you to claim them, not with your hands, but with your imagination. When you treat desire as sacred, you stop doubting its message. You stop delaying its arrival with disbelief. You begin to understand that you would not want it if you weren't meant to have it. You would not feel the pull unless the path was already prepared. The desire is not the absence of what you seek, it is the arrival of its blueprint in your awareness. From there, you do not have to earn it, beg for it, or chase it. You simply have to accept it, claim it, know it. And how do you claim a desire? Not by shouting it out to the world, not by trying to force its arrival, but by embodying the state of having it now. By knowing inwardly, quietly, with full conviction that it is already done. This is where the true shift happens, not in the outer world, but in the inner world. The moment you accept the desire as fulfilled within, the universe begins its work to reflect it without. The real work is not to hustle or struggle for your desire. The work is to remove resistance, to let go of the idea that it's far away, to abandon the belief that you are unworthy or not ready. Your readiness is shown in your desire. That's the sign, that's the mark, that's the divine permission slip that says, yes, this is your path. Now walk it. Every desire is a conversation between your soul and the source of all things. It is communication, it is confirmation. And once you understand this, you treat your desires with reverence, not resistance. You start to feel a deep peace, even before the manifestation appears. Because you no longer ask if it's coming, you know it already has. You stop looking for proof. You become the proof. So the next time a deep longing rises in you, don't shrink from it. Don't question it, don't push it away. Welcome it, thank it, and most of all, claim it, because the moment it entered your awareness, it wasn't a request. It was a revelation, a sacred echo of a reality already made, waiting for your faith to open the door. And once you accept it with your whole being, the world must rearrange itself to match your knowing. No, that is the divine promise, and the universe never breaks its word. To assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled is to step beyond the boundaries of logic and into the realm of creation. It is not mere pretending. It is embodying a higher truth. A truth that says what you desire already exists, not in some distant future, but here now, within the unseen. You are not waiting for it to happen. You are aligning yourself with the state in which it already had. Living in the end means you no longer think like the version of yourself who lacks it. You think like the version who has received it. You no longer speak from wanting, but from having. You do not ask, will it come? Instead, you declare it is already mine. This shift in consciousness is the bridge between the seen and the unseen. It is the only journey you must take. From doubt to knowing, from lack to fulfillment, from wishing. Most people approach their desires from the outside. They try to change the world around them to match what they want inside. But the truth is reversed. The outer world only reflects your inner world. So the fastest way to bring about what you desire is to dwell in the emotional and mental state of its completion. This means thinking from the end, not of the end, not hoping, not longing, but walking in the full awareness that it is done. This is not imagination for entertainment, this is imagination for transformation. When you assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, you are giving the universe instructions. You are setting the coordinates for your destination. You are saying, this is who I am now, and the world begins to mirror that identity. Feelings are the key, not words, not effort, feelings, because your emotional state is what impresses the subconscious, and it is the subconscious that controls the conditions of your life. So if you desire abundance, you must feel abundant now. If you desire love, you must feel love now. If you desire success, you must walk with the confidence of one who already has it. And if it feels unnatural at first, that's all right. Persist in it. Just as a seed takes time to sprout, so too will your new state take root. Do not wait for permission from the outside world. It will not come. The world does not give you permission to change. It only reflects the change once you've made it. So close your eyes, enter that sacred space within, and ask yourself, how would I feel if it were already true? Then feel it. Let it saturate your thoughts and guide your actions. Let it become your resting place. When you live in the end, you are no longer desperate or needy. You are calm, centered, peaceful, because you know you've already received it in the invisible realm, and the visible must follow. The how and when no longer concern you. Your only job is to remain faithful to the state of the wish fulfilled. This is the secret path to alignment. Not pushing, not striving, but being. Being the version of yourself who already has it, who already is it. And when you do this consistently, life reorganizes around you. People show up. Circumstances shift, doors open. Not because you forced them to, but because you assumed your rightful place. And the universe had no choice but to respond. So let go of the old identity, release the story of lack, and put on the new self, the self that knows it is done. Think from it, speak from it, feel from it. And most of all, trust it. Because when you live in the end will live through you. Delay is not denial. It is not a rejection, not a cancellation, not a closed door. It is simply a pause in appearance, not a pause in creation. When you understand the nature of reality, you realize that the moment you imagine and believe in something sincerely, it begins. Even if your physical eyes do not yet see it, the roots are growing beneath the surface. The foundation is forming in the unseen. The delay is only a sign that invisible forces are aligning to bring your desire into perfect expression. But here is where many falter. They look at the clock, they stare at the calendar, they count the days, the months, and sometimes the years, and they let the appearance of time whisper lies. It's not coming. Maybe it's not for you. You were foolish to believe. But time is not truth. Time is merely the space in which the unseen becomes seen. It is not your enemy, it is the womb in which your desire is growing. You must learn to trust that once a thing is spoken in faith, once it is felt, accepted, and lived inwardly, it is received. Not will be, it is. But it must appear in its own appointed time. Neither should you disturb your faith with fear, doubt, or questions. Your role is not to manage the timing, but to remain faithful to the vision. Delay is the universe's way of arranging everything perfectly for you, for others involved, and for the greater unfolding. There is no lost manifestation, no missed miracle. Nothing you've imagined in truth is ever forgotten. The universe does not lose track of your order. It hears your prayer, it feels your faith, and it sets things in motion even when you see nothing moving. Do not confuse silence for stillness. Do not confuse the waiting period with abandonment. You are not being ignored. You are being positioned. It is easy to believe when signs are everywhere, but the true test of belief is in the silence, the still moments. the times when the world looks unchanged. That is when your inner knowing must rise. That is when you must say, though I see nothing, I know it is done. That is when the seed of your desire either grows or withers based not on the outer world but on your inner conviction. You are being asked to hold the vibration of fulfillment longer than the world has shown it. You are being stretched in faith, refined in patience. This is not punishment. This is preparation for when it comes, and it will. You will not just receive what you ask for, you will have become the person who can sustain it. The delay is not just about the arrival of the thing, it is about your readiness to live in the fullness of it. So do not grow weary, do not trade in your vision for impatience. Let the delay be a reminder of how powerful your desire is. So powerful it requires orchestration beyond what you can see. Trust that what you ask for is already in motion. Trust that even now, behind the curtain of the physical, arrangements are being made, hearts are being cleared. You don't need to know how. You don't need to know when. You only need to know it is done. And the more you can rest in that knowing, the more you allow it to flow freely into your world. Hold your faith when nothing appears to be happening. That's the mark of one who understands the laws of creation, because delay is never denial. Delay is simply the sacred rhythm of divine timing. And when it arrives, you will look back and understand it wasn't late, it was perfect. Stop asking and start knowing. For every time you ask from a place of lack, you reinforce the idea that what you desire is separate from you. You say with your words and your emotions, it is not here yet. And in doing so, you bind yourself to that state of absence. But there is a higher way, a way that transcends asking, hoping, and waiting. It is the way of knowing. Knowing that what you desire is not something to chase, but something to awaken within. To ask once in faith is enough, but to keep asking again and again from fear and doubt is to declare over and over, I don't have it. The universe does not respond to your words alone. It responds to your state of being, and if your state is begging, it mirrors lack. If your state is knowing, it mirrors fulfillment. There is a great difference between the one who hopes and the one who remembers. Hope says, maybe it will come, but knowing says, it is already done. When you ask, you are often reaching outward, but when you know, you turn inward. You move into the feeling space of already having, already being. This is not make-believe, this is creation. Everything begins in consciousness. Nothing comes into form unless it is first held in the unseen, known, and embodied. Knowing is the frequency of manifestation because it is aligned with truth. The truth that the moment you desire, you have been granted. Desire is a divine signal. It is not a suggestion. It is not a tease. It is not a possibility. It is a promise. A memory from your higher self, reminding you of what is already yours in the invisible. And when you step into that remembrance, something shifts. You no longer strive, you no longer seek, you sit, you rest. You smile in quiet confidence. Because you are not waiting on life. Life is catching up to your knowing. It is not arrogance to claim something as yours before the world can see it. It is faith. It is alignment. It is saying to the universe, I trust the process. I believe in the unseen. I accept that what I have asked for is already on its way. And this inner claim is what opens the gates. Not the desperation of repeated requests, but the calm assurance of belief. You must stop treating your desire like a stranger and start treating it like a memory. It is not outside of you. It is a reflection of who you are becoming. Every time you return to the state of the wish fulfilled, when you think from it, feel from it, and act from it, you are telling the universe, I remember what is mine. And this remembering is the magnet. It draws the unseen into the seen with precision and power. So take your desire off the pedestal, bring it down, place it in your heart. Hold it not as a wish, but as a knowing. When the mind tries to question, return to the feeling. When the world tries to contradict, return to the inner vision. Your knowing must become louder than your senses, more real than the circumstances. That is the true power of creation. The ones who manifest effortlessly are not the ones who ask the loudest. They are the ones who feel the deepest, who walk in certainty before anything changes, who do not need to convince the world because they have already convinced themselves. You are not hoping, you are remembering. You are remembering the truth that all things are already yours, that the divine does not tease, it fulfills, that you are not here to chase what is missing, but to call forth what already belongs to you. So stop asking from a place of lack and start knowing from a place of wholeness. That is the bridge between desire and manifestation. Not effort, but embodiment. Not trying, but trusting. Not pleading, but remembering. And in that remembering, all things are made new. Faith doesn't watch the clock. It doesn't stare at the ticking hands of time, wondering if the promise is running late. It doesn't count the days or the minutes, measuring progress by what is seen. Faith understands that time is not the master, it is the servant. It bends and flows to the rhythm of your inner conviction. Time may be necessary in the physical world, but it is irrelevant in the world of spirit. In the unseen, what you ask for is already complete. It is done the moment you accept it as real within. But the world will tempt you to doubt. It will whisper that if it hasn't come yet, it may not come at all. That maybe you misunderstood. That maybe you should let go of the dream. But faith is not moved by appearances. Faith doesn't need evidence. It is the evidence. It lives in the unseen, as if it is already seen. It walks in the promise long before the promise becomes visible. You must stop looking at the clock and judging your progress. Stop using time as a ruler to measure your worthiness or your power. Just because it hasn't shown up yet doesn't mean it isn't on the way. The universe is not slow, it is precise, it is intelligent. It is exact in its unfolding. Every second that passes is part of a divine choreography, one that you cannot see in full, but must trust with your whole being. There is a natural gestation period for every desire. Just as a seed takes time to become a tree, your vision takes time to take shape. But that time is not empty, it is not wasted, it is filled with rearrangement, alignment, preparation. People are being moved, circumstances are being shifted, resources are being guided toward you. The path is being cleared behind the scenes, and the only thing that can interrupt this divine order is your disbelief. You do not speed things up by worrying. You do not accelerate the outcome by watching the clock. You bring delay only when you waver in belief, when you step out of the end and start questioning the middle. Your only task is to persist in the assumption that it is done, to remain in the feeling of the wish fulfilled, to keep your inner world aligned with the result, even when nothing outside has changed. This is the art of creation, not forcing, not begging, not hurrying, but trusting, and that trust must become your default state. You must learn to rest in the invisible, to relax into the knowing that divine timing is never off. It is never wrong, it is never late, it is always perfect. Faith is not impatient, faith is not anxious, faith is still, it is calm, it is rooted in a deeper truth. It does not need a clock to feel confident. It already knows that what is yours cannot be lost, that what you claimed in spirit must show up in form, that the delay is never denial. It is divine design. So take your eyes off the clock. Take your mind off the how. Return to the feeling. Return to the end. Keep your imagination alive with the image of fulfillment. Speak and walk as one who already possesses the desire. And let time serve you. Let it be the invisible bridge between your belief and your blessing. Time is not your obstacle, it is your ally. It is the gentle space in which your desire takes root and grows into form. Trust it, bless it, and most of all, stop watching it. For when you truly believe, you no longer ask when, you simply say thank you, and you live as if it's already done, because in truth, it is. So now you see, what you seek is not far, not distant, not separate from you. It is here, within. The moment you dare to imagine, you set creation in motion. When you assume the feeling, you align. When you persist in belief, even when nothing outside confirms it, you step into divine timing. You stop asking and start knowing. You walk not by sight, but by the inner conviction that what is yours is already done. The universe is not withholding, it is waiting. Waiting for you to claim, to remember, to relax into the truth. Your desire is already a promise. Faith is your bridge, imagination is your key, and time is simply the servant, not the master. So act as if it's coming, because it is. Trust in the process, trust in the timing, trust in yourself. And with that, thank you for listening, for believing, and for becoming. Close your eyes, not to escape the world, but to claim your power within it. And now, dare to imagine this. You open your mailbox, and there it is, an envelope. You weren't expecting it. You didn't work extra hours for it. You didn't hustle or chase it, but it came. A check made out to you. That feeling, that quiet shock mixed with delight, capture it, own it, live in it. Because your entire world is responding not to what you say or do, but to what you feel is true. If you truly believe that random checks are finding their way to you, then the outer world must arrange itself to reflect that truth. The mailman becomes the messenger of your faith. The bank becomes the servant of your imagination. But here's the secret. You must receive them first in consciousness. You must see the envelope before it comes. You must feel the deposit before the transaction. You must give thanks before the gift. Do not wait for proof. The proof is in your assumption, and your assumption is the seed. When you say, I receive more and more random checks, say it not as a wish, but as a fact. Speak it with the same ease as you say your name. And then forget the words and feel the experience. You are not waiting for a miracle, you are the miracle. And miracles follow those who believe they already have. So every morning affirm it. I receive more and more random checks. Feel the thrill. Smile as if you just opened another one. Trust that the unseen is already moving, because it is. You are the operant power, the author, the receiver, and your only job is to believe it's already done. The moment you turn within and begin to feel as if something were already yours, you unlock the true source of all that manifests in the outer world, your imagination. It is not the job, not the business opportunity, not the person who wrote the check that brings wealth into your life. The checks do not come from the world, they come through it. And that difference, though subtle in language, is everything in power. You see, most people live believing that the world is cause and they are effect. They believe that until the check arrives in the mail, they have no reason to feel abundant. Until they see the money, they cannot believe in the wealth. But this is backwards. All creation begins within. The outer is only a reflection of the inner, and your imagination is the sacred place where reality is born. When you begin to imagine receiving checks, holding them, depositing them, celebrating them, even before they appear in the physical world, you are performing the only act that truly matters. What you assume to be true of yourself becomes your world. If you assume you are always surprised by unexpected blessings, if you feel the joy and certainty of abundance before your senses confirm it, then you set the law of consciousness in motion, and this law cannot be broken. The world must obey the tone and mood of your inner state. It must conform to the picture you paint with your imagination. This is not speculation, it is the structure upon which all things rest. When you live from the end being the reality in which random checks are a normal and expected part of your life, you are no longer seeking money. You are dwelling in the energy of already having received it. The world in response begins to bend in ways you cannot predict. Someone you haven't spoken to in years might suddenly feel compelled to bless you. An old refund, forgotten, might show up. An opportunity you didn't pursue could open a door. These are not accidents. They are echoes of your assumption. Imagination is not some fleeting daydream. It is your power to create, to call things which are not seen as though they were. And when that imagined scene is felt vividly, when it is soaked in gratitude, excitement, and faith, it begins to clothe itself in form. The longer you remain in that state, the faster it will move from the invisible to the visible. Do not concern yourself with how it will happen. The how is not your domain. The route through which the money flows is chosen by a wisdom deeper than your conscious mind. But you, as the creator, must open the gate through which it flows. And that gate is your own belief, your own feeling, your own silent knowing that yes, the checks are coming. In fact, they have already arrived. Once you accept that your imagination is the only true source of reality, you become free from waiting. You begin to receive in joy before receiving in hand. And it is that joyous, expectant feeling which magnetizes the conditions of your life. You are not hoping, you are being. And being is the secret. So dwell there. Each morning, let your inner eyes see what your physical eyes do not. Feel the texture of the envelope, the weight of the check inside it. Hear the click of your mailbox, the whisper of divine surprise. Walk through your world as one who knows that all things are already his, and the world, obedient as ever, will echo your truth. It was always yours. Now, to live in the end is to make the outcome you desire so real within you that you no longer question its arrival. You are not waiting for random checks, you are already receiving them. You are not hoping for provision, you are already provided for. Living in the end means feeling the reality of your desire as though it were happening now. Because in consciousness it is happening now. There is no waiting. There is only accepting. Begin by asking yourself, if random checks consistently arrived in your life, how would you feel? Not just once, but again and again. How would you carry yourself, knowing that unexpected blessings, financial surprises, and divine provisions flowed freely to you without struggle? That feeling, peaceful, abundant, secure, is the secret doorway into manifestation. You do not create by trying harder. You create by feeling deeper. You create by entering the scene mentally and emotionally and living from that place of fulfillment. Imagine waking up each day and instead of worrying about how money will come, you smile with knowing you know that you are always taken care of. You feel it in your body. You walk through the day with the same ease as someone who has already deposited 3 checks this week and expects 2 more next week. You are not desperate. You are not surprised. You are calm and grateful because this is now your normal. This is what living in the end looks like. Not hoping something might happen, but resting in the fact that it already is. Most people live in a state of lack and wonder why lack continues to show up. They pray for checks, then rehearse all the ways it probably won't happen. They try to visualize, but their hearts are full of doubt. You must go deeper than that. You must allow yourself to dwell in the emotional atmosphere of already having. You must feel the tone of wealth, the vibration of ease, the naturalness of abundance. Let this inner mood become your permanent dwelling place. Living in the end is not a one-time event. It is a practice, a discipline, a commitment to ignore appearances and hold fast to the unseen. The world will often offer evidence to the contrary: empty accounts, unpaid bills, unanswered calls. But those are just shadows. Do not chase the shadow. Dwell in the light of your desire. Let the checks arrive first in your mind. See them, smell the paper, hear the crinkle of the envelope. Picture yourself walking into the bank. Feel the gratitude swell in your chest as the deposit is made. Let it be so real that the outer world has no choice but to conform. And it will conform. It must. Because the world reflects your state of being, and when your being is grounded in the end, when your soul has accepted that receiving is already happening, the bridge of events will unfold. You don't need to know how. You don't need to force the path. Just persist in the end. Stay faithful to the version of you that already receives, or already celebrates, already expects. This is the truth. The world bends to the assumptions you refuse to abandon. When you live in the end, the universe rearranges itself to match your conviction. People you've never met will feel compelled to bless you. Opportunities you didn't seek will arise. Money will come from channels you couldn't have imagined. But all of that is secondary. The real work is within. So live now as the one who receives more and more random checks. Let the feeling settle. Let it take root. Wear it like your favorite garment. Return to it when doubt tries to visit. And with time, not long time, but faithful time, you'll find that what began in imagination has found its way into form. Not because you chased it, but because you lived in the end. And the end always makes itself known. Money by itself is powerless. It is not the source, but the reflection. It does not think, move, or decide. It does not choose you. You choose it. Through your belief, this is the great misunderstanding of the world, that money holds power, that it determines worth, that it arrives only by hard work or luck. In truth, money responds to the self-concept you carry. It comes not to the most deserving, nor the most intelligent, but to the one who believes they are the kind of person to whom it naturally flows. If you believe that you are always just getting by, then life will prove you right. If you believe you have to fight for every dollar, then struggle will follow. If you believe money avoids you, then it will. But if you believe deeply and sincerely that you are blessed, that you are the kind of person who finds money when they least expect it, that random checks show up in your mailbox or your account without strain, then your world must mirror that belief. Because the law is simple. Consciousness is the only reality. What you accept as true becomes true for you. Money obeys belief. It is a servant, not a master. It listens to your inner dialogue. It follows the instructions you whisper in secret. And if those instructions are laced with worry, doubt, and limitation, then you will repel the very thing you think you want. Not because you are unworthy, but because you have not yet shifted the belief behind your desire. You see, it is not enough to want random checks. You must believe in the reality of receiving them. You must carry yourself as one who receives with ease. You must remove the pedestal on which you've placed money and recognize that the power was never in the check. It was always in your consciousness. Money is not the miracle. You are. And the moment you decide that wealth is natural to you, the moment you affirm and feel that you are open to receiving from unexpected places, life rushes to prove you right. Think of the many who attract financial blessings without effort. They do not chase it. They expect it. They do not fear money running out because their belief is in an endless source. And so money comes, not to control them, but to serve their freedom. Their belief creates the path. Their certainty shapes the result. If you want to receive more, then you must believe more. You must shift your self-concept from someone who hopes to someone who knows, from someone who wishes to someone who receives. Begin to affirm this. Money comes to me from known and unknown sources. I am always provided for. Random checks are a natural part of my experience. Say it until it feels familiar. Say it until it feels normal. Say it until the words no longer sound like affirmation, but like fact. Because the truth is, once your belief shifts, the outer world will follow. The job will call. The refund will come. The check will appear. But you will not be surprised because your belief made it inevitable. So stop looking at the number in your account and assigning it meaning. It is old news, a reflection of yesterday's belief. Instead, look within and ask, what do I truly believe about money? What story am I telling myself? And if that story no longer serves you, write a new one. A story where money is easy, where receiving is normal, where your name seems to attract abundance by its very sound. This is not about arrogance, it is about alignment. The outer obeys the inner. The world reflects your assumption, and money, like all things, bows to belief. Persistence is the golden thread that weaves the unseen into the seen. It is the quiet, consistent choice to remain in the end, even when nothing in your external world suggests it's working. You do not need to know how the checks will come. You are not required to map the steps or strategize the timeline. Your only task is to persist in the assumption that it is already so, to dwell in the state of the wish fulfilled and refuse to leave it, no matter what contradicts it. This is where most fall away. They plant the seed of assumption and dig it up at the first sign of doubt. They imagine receiving money out of the blue, feel good for a moment, then check their bank account and declare, see, nothing's happening. But the moment you do that, you've left the state. You've abandoned the ends. And you've given power to appearances, which are always the product of past assumptions, not present ones. The how is not your concern. That is the job of the unseen forces moving through your world, arranging what needs to be arranged. All you must do is carry the inner conviction that it's done. The bridge of events, the series of steps and coincidences that bring your assumption to life, will unfold naturally and often invisibly. You may not even recognize that the bridge is building until you find yourself on the other side of it. Think of this. You decide you are the kind of person who receives unexpected checks. You persist in that feeling day after day, not desperately, not anxiously, but confidently. You walk, talk, and live as one who receives. You do not entertain doubt. You do not check your mailbox with worry. You check with gratitude. You live in the vibration of already having. That is persistence. Slowly or suddenly, the world begins to shift. Someone remembers a debt they owe you, a refund you forgot about arrives, a job opportunity with a surprise bonus lands in your lap, a family member blesses you out of nowhere. The path was never yours to create. It was yours to allow. But it only happens through persistence. Persistence is not repetition of words, it is repetition of state. It is not begging or pleading, but returning again and again to the feeling that it's done, that the money is yours, that the checks are already on their way, that life knows your desire and is faithfully delivering it. So you must be faithful to your assumption, even when the world is silent, even when you see no sign. That is the test, and it is not a test of worth, it is a test of awareness. Will you continue to dwell in the end when your senses tell you otherwise? Will you hold the inner reality long enough for the outer to reflect it? This is not about force, it is about trust. Not about controlling, but surrendering to the truth that what you imagine with conviction must come to pass. Do not try to make it happen, let it happen. But keep your inner world fixed. Stay loyal to the version of yourself who already receives. Let that version lead. Let that version make decisions. Walk into rooms. Speak affirmations. Not from lack, but from fullness. If you do this, you will one day look back and realize the bridge was always building. The right people showed up. The unexpected events unfolded. The checks came, not because you figured it out, but because you believed it was already done. Persistence is not glamorous, but it is powerful. It is the quiet force that moves mountains. And when you master it, reality will bend, not because you fought it, but because you refuse to leave the state of fulfillment. That is how all things are born. That is how the invisible becomes visible. Through persistence. The world is not separate from you. It is not some distant force with a will of its own. It is yourself expressed in form, your thoughts, your assumptions, your emotions, your beliefs, all made visible. When you truly grasp this, you stop blaming the world and you start shaping it. You begin to understand that every experience, every encounter, every so-called coincidence is a mirror, reflecting back to you the content of your consciousness. So if you desire to receive random checks, don't look outside. Don't wait for the mail or chase opportunities. Instead, turn within. Ask yourself, do I feel worthy of being surprised by life? Do I truly believe the universe wants to bless me? Do I expect joy to arrive at my doorstep unannounced? Because if you don't, the world cannot reflect it. The world can only echo what you've internalized as true. To receive with ease, you must become the version of yourself who lives in ease. To receive surprise checks, you must assume the identity of one who is always cared for, one who trusts the process of life, one who is delighted and delighted often. This inner shift is everything. Without it, you're just wishing. But with it, you're commanded. You see, the universe has no favorites. It does not withhold, it only responds. It listens to your dominant state. And when that state is one of joy, gratitude, and expectancy, the world has no choice but to mirror it. That's when checks arrive without reason. That's when people offer you gifts. That's when banks correct errors in your favor. That's when life conspires to surprise you not randomly but faithfully, because you have become a match to the feeling of being abundantly provided for. You must internalize the idea that good things are meant for you, not earned through stress, not begged for, but received as a natural extension of who you are. You must dwell in the feeling that you are always guided, always supported, always loved by the very fabric of existence. And when this feeling becomes your normal, the outer world has no choice but to show up accordingly. Imagine walking through life believing, truly believing, that the universe is playful and generous, that it enjoys surprising you, that it hides blessings in ordinary places just to see your smile when you discover them. If you carried that attitude in your heart, how different would your days feel? How differently would you treat people? How much lighter would your spirit be? That is the energy that attracts the unexpected. That is the energy that calls in abundance from unseen places. So you must stop waiting for the world to change and begin changing your concept of self. You are not a passive observer. You are the dreamer of the dream, the maker of meaning, the one through whom all things are filtered. The world is your consciousness externalized. It cannot show you what you do not first accept within. This is why it is said, assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, because feeling is the secret. Feeling is what speaks to the subconscious, and the moment you feel the joy of receiving, even without evidence, the moment you believe in surprises, in magic, in provision without reason, the world takes notice. The checks will come. Not because you chase them, but because you align with the version of yourself that already has them. The version that walks with confidence. The version that expects to be delighted. The version that no longer doubts if she's worthy. Because she knows she is. Your inner world is sacred. Guard it. Tend to it. Fill it with the assumption that life is always working for you, that the universe is conspiring in your favor. that random blessings, unexpected checks, and joyful surprises are the natural outpouring of your belief. Because when the joy lives within you, it must appear around you, always. The world is yourself pushed out. Gratitude is not a reaction to life. It is the force that shapes life. When you give thanks, not after something appears, but before, you activate the very power that causes the unseen to be seen. Gratitude is the declaration that you already have what your senses cannot yet confirm. It is a signal to the universe that you trust, that you believe, that you live in the end even while others wait for the world to change. This is why gratitude multiplies the flow. Because when you appreciate something, you are giving it your attention, your emotion, your belief. You are energizing it. And what you energize grows. It becomes real, not just in your mind, but in the world around you. Most people misunderstand this. They think they must wait for the check to arrive, the job to be offered, the gift to be given. Then they'll be grateful. But the truth is, the longer you delay your gratitude, the longer you delay your blessing. It's that you have not yet aligned with the frequency of the thing you want. Gratitude is the frequency. Imagine waking up every morning and feeling thankful, not for what you see, but for what you know is already yours in the invisible. Imagine saying, "Thank you for the random checks that keep coming into my life. Thank you for the unexpected money, the divine surprises, the overflow of blessings." You say this with no proof, no evidence, only the conviction that it is real. You let your heart feel the fullness of already having. What happens then? The world begins to conform because you have changed. You have elevated your state. You are no longer doubting, waiting, wishing. You are knowing. You are in the vibration of fulfillment. And fulfillment cannot help but attract more to be fulfilled about. Gratitude also removes resistance. It clears away the energy of lack, of desperation, of "I need this to happen." Those states block the flow, they close the door. But gratitude opens it wide. It says, "I am already complete, I am already blessed. I welcome more, but I am lacking nothing." And from that place, miracles flow easily. The grateful soul is magnetic. You can feel it in their presence. They are rich, not just in material things, but in spirit. They see beauty where others see problems. They find gifts in every corner of their life, and so the universe responds by giving them more to be grateful for because they are already in harmony with the good they desire. You must train yourself to live this way. Start with the small things. Be grateful for the light that filters through your window. Be grateful for the breath in your lungs, for the meals you eat, for the moments of peace. These are not insignificant, they are sacred, and the more you recognize them, the more you will find yourself surrounded by even greater expressions of abundance. Then take it further. Give thanks for what you desire as if it is already here. Give thanks for the check you will open tomorrow, for the message confirming a payment, for the surprise refund, the unknown benefactor, the shift in your financial reality. Speak these thank yous aloud. Feel them in your body. Let your imagination carry you into the scene where you've already received. And let your gratitude make it real. This is not pretending, it is creating. You are laying the foundation of your future through the power of inner thankfulness. You are acknowledging that the source of your supply is not the world, but the unseen force that responds to your belief. Gratitude multiplies because it is aligned with truth, the truth that you are already provided for, that life is already responding, that what you seek is seeking you. And the moment you begin to give thanks from that knowing, you awaken to the reality that the invisible is only waiting for your recognition to become visible. So give thanks now, not later. Give thanks not because you see it, but so you can see it. The grateful heart lives in the end, and in doing so brings the end to life. You have now seen that the flow of random checks, of unexpected abundance, of provision without explanation is not a miracle reserved for a few, but the natural outpouring of your inner state. You are not here to chase or strive, but to assume, persist, and receive. You are the cause, your imagination is the source, your belief is the mold, your gratitude is the magnet. You do not need to know how, you only need to know who you are. And who you are is the one who lives in the end, the one who feels the joy of the money before it arrives, the one who walks in faith, not in fear, the one who gives thanks before the world reflects what has already been claimed within. The universe is not testing you, it is responding to you. With each assumption, each inner thank you, each moment of joyful expectancy, you are building the bridge of events that must lead you to the fulfillment of your desire. You are the dreamer and the doer, and the one who decides how life unfolds, not by force, but by feeling. So hold the feeling, cherish it, nourish it, return to it every day, not as a task, but as your truth. For the more you dwell in the feeling of already having, the more the world must show you evidence that it is so. Let this be your rhythm. Assume, persist, and give thanks. Thank you for listening, not just with your ears, but with your heart. Thank you for daring to believe that something greater is already yours. And above all, thank you for remembering who you are, the one with the power to receive more and more simply by being still, imagining boldly and trusting completely. The checks are already yours. Now go and receive them. Close your eyes for a moment. There is a voice within you whispering, you were never meant for average. You were never meant to scrape by, to settle, to doubt your own power. You've walked through storms not to drown, but to rise. And now the winds are shifting in your favor. You are God's chosen one, not because the world told you so, but because your spirit wouldn't let you stop dreaming, even when everything around you said quit. There's a sacred reason you couldn't blend in, a divine reason why your vision kept stretching beyond what others called reality. You are not entering your millionaire phase, you are remembering it. You are stepping into the state you once abandoned for the approval of others. Now you reclaim it, in silence, in strength, and in total certainty. Wealth begins in the mind. It is not money that makes you rich. It is the awareness that you are already supplied. You are already backed by the source that lacks nothing. And in this awareness, money bends. Circumstances change. Opportunities rearrange themselves to honor the one who knows. Let others chase it. Let them hustle and beg. You rest in the knowing. You do not move from desperation, but from power. Every thought is a seed, and you plant only those that grow into millions. You don't pray for money. You assume the position of one who has it. That is the difference. That is the secret. Live in the feeling now. Walk as if it has already happened. The home, the freedom, the peace, it's already yours. You don't have to force it. You don't have to explain yourself. Creation is finished. You were born to demonstrate what happens when belief becomes identity, when faith becomes fact. So rise, speak less, imagine more, hold the vision, not the doubt, and the world will soon witness what you've always known. The chosen one has arrived, and the millionaire phase has begun. You are already chosen. That's the truth the world tries to make you forget. From the moment you first desired more, you were marked, not by the world, not by people, not by titles or praise, but by the divine intelligence that placed that desire within you. That pull, that ache for a life greater than the one you see with your eyes is not a coincidence. It is confirmation. You were not given that vision so you could suffer in its absence. You were given it because it is yours to realize. There is nothing to prove, nothing to earn, nothing to win. You do not become chosen by working harder, by shouting louder, or by gaining approval from others who cannot see what lies within you. You were chosen the moment you were born with a different hunger, a different rhythm in your spirit. Others could settle, you could not. Others could forget their dreams, you could not. That is what sets you apart. The world teaches you to chase validation, to run after external signs that you matter. But when you are truly chosen, the signs are not external, they are internal. They show up in the form of spiritual restlessness, in the longing for something more, something deeper. You do not need anyone to confirm it for you. The knowing lives in your bones. It calls to you in the silence, in the still moments when no one else is watching. It speaks loudest when you try to quiet it with logic, with fear, or with compromise. Yet it returns over and over, because the chosen can never forget who they truly are for long. You are not here to convince the world of your worth, you are here to remember it. You are not here to fit in, you are here to awaken. The very fact that you feel different, that you've always felt like you're on the outside looking in, is not something to fix, it's something to honor. That difference is sacred. That difference is your anointing. Stop trying to prove your destiny by your current conditions. You may be in a season of lack, of stillness, of waiting, but that doesn't change your identity. A tree does not stop being a tree just because it's winter. The chosen do not stop being chosen just because they are hidden. In fact, the hidden years are often the most important ones. The years where no one claps, where no one sees, where you walk alone. They are the years that build your foundation, that refine your character, that align you with your true inheritance. You must stop measuring your worth by what has happened. Your past is not the proof of your calling. Your desire is. That desire is not random. It was placed inside you by the same force that created galaxies. And that force does not make mistakes. Stop explaining yourself, stop shrinking, stop seeking permission to rise. You were not made to live a life of compromise. You were made to walk in full authority. But you must claim it first in silence, in solitude, in the invisible places where the world cannot reach. You must know it before it is seen, believe it before it is applauded, feel it before it becomes form. You are already chosen. The work is not in proving it, the work is in remembering it daily. Especially when life tests you, especially when nothing looks like the promise. That's when the chosen are separated from the crowd by their ability to remain anchored in identity, not outcome. So breathe. There is no race, no competition. You've already been selected. Now it's simply about aligning your thoughts, your emotions, and your imagination with that truth. And when you do, you will begin to live not as one trying to become, but as one who already is. Millionaire is not a title given to you by numbers in a bank. It is not something you wait to become. It is something you first choose to be, within. The world has taught you to chase money as if it's separate from who you are. But in truth, wealth does not come to the one who needs it. It comes to the one who embodies it. The one who understands that the outer world is only a shadow, a mirror reflecting what already lives within the soul. You have been conditioned to believe that wealth is a reward, something that appears after effort, after sacrifice, after struggle. But the real shift happens when you stop seeing wealth as a goal and start recognizing it as a state of being. A consciousness that must be occupied long before the world reflects it back. Just as peace is not found in currently but in identity, who you are in consciousness will always shape what you experience in the world. To feel wealthy is to walk through the world with certainty. Not arrogance, not noise, but an unshakable calm that knows, I am supported, I am supplied, I am worthy of the finest life has to offer. This feeling is not earned, it is claimed. And most never claim it because they wait for physical evidence to grant them permission. They wait for a certain amount in the account, a certain lifestyle, a certain title, but those things are the effect, not the cause. The true millionaire understands that reality rearranges itself around belief. It has no choice. You must learn to feel it first, to dress the part in your imagination, to speak the language of abundance, not in forced affirmations, but in the silence of your own mind where doubt once ruled. You must learn to walk through your day as if your life is already transformed, as if every step is already blessed. You do not do this to trick the universe. You do it to remind yourself who you truly are. Your inner world is the mold and the outer world is the clay. If within you carry lack, fear, and doubt, your reality must reflect it. Not because you're being punished, but because consciousness is law. The feeling you dwell in becomes the form you live in. So the real task is not to chase wealth, but to tune your thoughts, your emotions, and your imagination to the frequency of wealth. This is why some win the lottery and lose it all. This is why others build empires from nothing. Because the money doesn't change the consciousness, but the consciousness always changes the money. When you begin to feel wealthy, not needy, not desperate, but full, then everything begins to align. You speak differently, you treat your time differently, you attract new people, new ideas, new pathways. Opportunities are drawn to the one who already feels deserving of them. It's not magic, it's law. You are always becoming what you believe you are. So no more waiting, no more hoping for something out there to prove that you are abundant. It begins now in this moment by shifting within, by carrying yourself as the person who already has what you seek. The clothes you wear, the way you walk, the way you think before you sleep, let it all reflect the inner certainty that you are already rich. Because the truth is, you are not trying to become a millionaire, you are remembering that you always were. And once you remember, the world must mirror it back. Not because you forced it, but because you became it. If you wish to experience something in the outer world, you must first enter the scene of it in your inner world. The outer is not the origin, it is the echo. All form begins in the invisible, and the only way to bring it forward into the visible is to live it mentally first. You must sit with the feeling of the wish fulfilled. You must smell the air of that future moment. You must hear the sounds of the life you desire and touch it. Not with your hands, but with your awareness. So many wait to see the change before they feel it, but nothing changes until you do. You do not rise by effort alone, you rise by assumption. Your reality bends to what you consistently imagine yourself to be. So begin there. Before you step into the home, walk through its rooms in your mind. Before the money enters your hands, feel the security of already having more than enough. Before you wear the clothes, stand before your inner mirror clothed in confidence and elegance and wealth. It is not foolish to imagine, it is divine, it is your greatest power. The world may scoff at daydreams, but your imagination is the womb of reality. What you nurture within it becomes flesh. Every moment you spend in the state of your desire fulfilled, you impress it deeply impressed, will be inevitably expressed. Do not wait for the world to give you permission. It never will. The secret is to occupy the scene now, not visit it once and leave, not touch it briefly with hope, but to live there, to dwell in it, to return to it morning and night until it becomes more real than your current surroundings. When that happens, the world has no choice but to conform. It's not optional. The world is a reflection, and it must reflect your dominant state. This is why so many work hard and still receive little, because their mind never leaves the state of lack. Their actions are filled with effort, but their imagination is filled with worry. You can never outperform the image you hold of yourself, so stop trying to earn the life you want. Start embodying it. Go there in your mind, speak from that place. Walk with the calm of one who already holds the outcome, not in arrogance, but in quiet knowing. The world moves around those who are immovable in belief. Enter the scene of your wealth and refuse to exit, refuse to speak from poverty again, refuse to act like it's not already yours. And if doubt creeps in, return gently to your inner sanctuary, build it with detail. Sit at the table of your future life, pour a drink, toast to the version of you who already made it. Speak to others in your imagination as if you are living that life now. Let the feeling flood your nervous system. Let it wash over the doubts, over the old beliefs that whispered you were not worthy. You are not imagining to escape reality. You are imagining to create it. The world is clay, and imagination is the sculptor's hand. You do not need to know how or when. You only need to enter the scene mentally, live there with feeling, and trust that the outer must eventually catch up. Everything you see now was once invisible, and everything you desire already exists in a higher dimension of thought waiting for you to inhabit it. So do not look around to determine what is possible. Close your eyes. Step inside the life you want. Feel the atmosphere of abundance. And from that place, move through your day, not as one who hopes, but as one who knows. Money is not your master, it is your servant. It is not hiding from you, nor is it something you must chase. It is waiting patiently for you to rise to the level of consciousness where it naturally appears. You are not delayed by lack of opportunity, talent, or time. You are delayed only by your belief that you must earn, deserve, or prove yourself before money can flow into your life. But the truth is simple. Money is not waiting for your effort. It is waiting for your alignment. You do not need to beg for abundance. You do not need to convince money to find you. That is the mindset of someone who has forgotten who they are. The beggar sees money as a god, as something far away that must be worshipped and appeased. But the awakened mind knows that wealth is drawn to certainty. It comes swiftly to the one who does not need it to feel powerful, but who already knows power belongs to them. Money responds to authority, not the kind that demands, but the kind that assumes, the kind of quiet confidence that walks through the world as if the answer has already been given. You do not ask again and again for what you already believe is yours. You simply receive it in the right time and way, because your inner state made it law. That is the truth Money does not come to you because you struggle. It comes because you finally stop struggling. As long as you wait for money to change your inner world, you continue waiting. But once your inner world changes, money must respond. It has no will of its own. It is moved by consciousness. The version of you that is wealthy already exists, and so does the wealth. You are not creating it, you are selecting it. And you select it by feeling it. Ask yourself honestly, do you walk through life as the one who already has more than enough? Or do you still think, speak, and act like one in lack? Are you entertaining fear more than faith, doubt more than knowing? Because money listens to the tone of your inner voice, not the desperation of your outer actions. The money is not held back, you are, by old stories, by mental habits, by beliefs passed down from generations that said you must suffer to succeed. Break the lie. No amount of action will replace a misaligned state of being. But when your state is right, the action becomes light, it flows. And so does the wealth. You must become the person who already has it, not just in your imagination, but in your posture, in your decisions, in your energy. This is not pretending, this is creating. You are sculpting the world with invisible hands every moment. You are not a victim of circumstance, you are the cause. And the cause is always a state of mind, so stop waiting for the money. Step into the version of yourself who already has it. Let your thoughts reflect abundance. Let your conversations reflect overflow. Let your choices reflect belief, not fear. The moment you stop chasing, you begin attracting. The moment you stop asking if it's possible, you start living as if it's already done. Money is not a reward. It is a mirror. When you see yourself as rich, wealthy, supported, when you know it without needing the numbers to confirm it, that's when the numbers change. That's when the doors open, not because you forced them, but because you finally aligned with the life that was always yours. You are not waiting on money. Money has been waiting on you. The world around you does not move according to your effort, it moves according to your assumption. It is not your striving, struggling, or pleading that reshapes reality, but your quiet, unquestioned belief in what already is. The moment you assume a thing to be true, you give it life. You set the mold into which the world must pour itself. That is the secret most ignore. Your assumption is the law of your world. What you assume with feeling becomes your experience. This is not philosophy, it is law. A law so precise it cannot fail. You do not need to fight for your desires. You only need to assume they are yours, not one day, not eventually, but now, at this very moment. The world cannot help but rearrange itself to reflect the image you hold. You say, I want to be wealthy, but wanting is not having. Wanting is the declaration that something is missing. And life, being infinitely obedient, reflects that back to you. It gives you more wanting. But when you assume I am wealthy, regardless of appearances, you have rewritten the script. You have stepped into a new role, and the world, like a mirror, must bend to your reflection. You cannot assume one thing and live another. You cannot say, I am rich while worrying about bills. You cannot claim abundance and then act from lack. The assumption must saturate your being. It must live in your tone, your step, your silence. It must be the atmosphere of your consciousness, not a passing wish. What you are conscious of being, you become. That is the root of all change. You do not change things by fighting what is. You change by assuming what you desire already is. You occupy the state. You wear it like a garment. And in time, though time itself is merely the servant of belief, the outer world catches up. The world does not resist your assumptions. It does not argue or negotiate. It obeys. This is why it is written, to the one who has, more will be given. Why? Because to have is an assumption, it is a state, and to the one who assumes they already possess the thing, the world continues to provide more of it. But to the one who assumes lack, who feels incomplete, unworthy, or distant from their desire, life confirms that too. So the question is never, how do I get it? The question is always, what am I assuming right now? Look around. Not at the world, but within. Are you assuming freedom or confinement? Wealth or struggle? Are you expecting a miracle or expecting more delay? Because whatever you're expecting, you're assuming. And whatever you're assuming, you're inviting into form. Assume with purpose. Assume with power. Do not wait for evidence to make you believe. Believe and the evidence will come. This is not delusion, it is dominion. It is knowing who you are and the authority you've been given over your life. You are not at the mercy of facts. Facts change. Assumptions create new facts. The greatest shift you can ever make is to stop reacting to what is and start creating what must be. That happens in the mind. In the stillness, in the quiet decision to say, this is who I am now. This is my reality now, and then refuse to contradict it. You do not ask the world for permission to change. You declare who you are and let the world adjust. You live from the end. You speak from the place you desire to be. And you hold that tone until life must echo it back to you. Your assumption is not a suggestion, it is a command. Not to others, not to circumstances, but to consciousness itself. You are the author, and your world, for better or worse, is the story your assumption writes. Assume the highest, assume boldly, assume now. Silence is not weakness, it is power. It is the sacred ground where your seeds of assumption take root. When you speak too quickly, too often, or too loudly about your desires, you expose them to the winds of doubt, the hands of opinion, and the coldness of misunderstanding. But when you hold your vision in silence, when you walk through life with quiet knowing, you protect the seed, you keep it warm, you keep it holy. What you claim in quiet certainty grows in divine soil. There is no need to announce what you're becoming, no need to explain your vision to those who cannot see it. You do not owe anyone an explanation for what lies in your heart. The moment you reveal your dream too early, it becomes vulnerable. People project their fears onto it. They question it, challenge it, belittle it. Not because they are evil, but because they do not carry the seed. You do. Only you can see it, and only you can grow it. What is planted in faith must be protected in silence. Your dream is a sacred promise between you and the divine, and silence is the container that holds that promise. When you walk in silence, you send a message, not to others, but to your own subconscious. I do not need validation. I already believe. That belief, held privately and powerfully, becomes the blueprint your world must follow. Most people speak out of fear. They talk too much about what they want because they secretly don't believe they'll get it. They try to convince others as a way to convince themselves. But true power doesn't speak, it simply is. A seed does not shout to become a tree, it grows quietly, day by day, inch by inch, until one day the world sees what it never imagined was possible. You must learn to carry your desire in stillness, nurture it with belief, feed it with imagination. And above all, do not let others disturb the soil. Not everyone is meant to understand you. Not everyone is capable of supporting your vision. And that's perfectly fine. You were meant to be understood. You were meant to manifest. Let others wonder how you did it. Let your success be the answer to questions they never thought to ask. The best proof is always in the results. You don't owe anyone a preview. You owe yourself the outcome. And that outcome begins in silence. Silence is where power gathers. In stillness, your assumption becomes reality. In quietness, your faith grows roots. You must become comfortable not explaining, not justifying, not seeking permission. You must trust that what you have seen within is real, more real than the world around you. This is not about secrecy born of fear, it is about reverence, about knowing that sacred things must be held in sacred space. Speak less, believe more. Let the garden of your mind flourish without interference. What you claim in your inner world is more important than anything you could ever say aloud. Talk when it's done, speak when it's manifested. Until then, remain still. Smile like someone who already knows. Walk like someone who has already received. Think like someone who cannot be shaken. You don't need to shout. The universe hears whispers, and it responds to faith kept firm in silence. There is a time to declare and there is a time to incubate. Know the difference? Every miracle begins in a quiet moment. Every transformation begins with an unseen decision. Do not give away what is still becoming. Let the process be hidden so the result can be undeniable. Silence is the secret, stillness is the strategy, and manifestation is the reward for the one who knows when to speak and when to simply believe. You were never meant to chase what is already yours. You were born, chosen, divinely selected to walk a path of abundance, not because of effort, but because of awareness. The moment you shift your consciousness, you shift your world. The millionaire phase is not ahead of you, it is within you. It begins the moment you assume it, live from it, and protect it in silence. Wealth is not a number, it is a vibration, a state, a knowing. You do not wait for money, money waits for you. And once you fully embrace the truth that your imagination is the only power that creates, nothing can be denied you. Speak less, believe more, live boldly in the unseen, and let the world be astonished at what shows up. Thank you for receiving this truth. May you walk in the fullness of it, and may the fruits of your faith manifest beyond measure.